Thank you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? Okay. In the back, can you hear? Fine? No? Okay. My name is Vivorn. Call me We นะครับ I'm an engineer. I graduated back 20, 30 years ago. I have a degree in mechanical engineering, and I was like you. I studied engineering. I got so tired of school. How many of you are tired at school? Raise your hand. Yes, I know. It's hard to think all the time, to do all that work, but let me give you another perspective of what engineering does, what engineering is, and how I use the knowledge. And I hated to become an employee. I didn't want to work for someone. And after I graduated, I'd worked for Toyota, I worked for Western Digital, I worked for some other companies, and I didn't like that. And I wanted something on my own. And so I started something I really, really like. And I thought, okay, let's see how it goes. All right? So this is my story. This is a company that I started called Envostar Advanced Armor. So what we do is that we research, we manufacture armor for the Thai military. Let's see what we do.
Thank you.
Okay, this is in short what we do at InvoStar is that we use an engineering skills, we use a scientific knowledge, but what we wanted to do is to find out what the customer, what's their pain point, all right? What is going on? So normally we go down south. We go down and we figure out what they want, what kind of armor they want, what are they protecting against, what bullet, what knives, whatever. And then we come back, and then we form a team, and then we say, all right, let's solve this problem. Right? This is a problem that kills people and require engineering skills. Right? So you're sitting here and you're learning all this. And then one day you graduate and then you go work for somebody and then you get lost. You get lost in the system and then you realize your engineering skills are there just to make you money, just to get your family through, and then you're off. So what I want to tell you today is that, look, use your skills, solve a problem. Solve a problem that you really want to solve. Now, of course, in the Thai manufacturing, we are generally a cost center. You understand what a cost center is? It's like Thailand is always manufacturing something for somebody. Right? So we need to change that, and then we need to change that by finding a pain point. You understand this word? Pain point. Pain point means if you have a customer, you need to figure out what makes your customer tick, right? And then this is one of the research I want to show you. What happened down south? Somebody know? The three southern provinces, Yala, what else? Pattani, and Narathiwat, right? These are the three southern provinces with a lot of terrorist issue. So what happened is there's a lot of bombs, right? So I'm trying to do all these armors to protect against bullets. Wait, most of the problem are bombs, are explosives. Explosives are something very different from bullets, right? Let's imagine a bullet, all right? Somebody, a bullet is made out of what? Somebody know? Bullet is made out of what? Most bullets. What's inside a bullet? Lead, all right. A lot of materials, but mainly lead, all right? So lead are being propelled. That's projectile. That's what you're studying, right? So it's projectile is going out with a translation speed and also an angular momentum, an angular speed, right? So it's turning. And then it hits something and it tears it apart. Now, bullets are very different than blasts. A blast, as you will see in this video, a blast contains steel. So if I want to kill somebody, I make my own bomb, which I'll tell you how to make bombs. It's actually not that hard, you know that. And you put a bomb in a container, right? You blast it out, so there's a lot of pressure, right? And then, well, if you want to rip somebody apart, that pressure wouldn't do you any good. So what do? If you want to kill somebody, you have a blast, you have a bomb, you put it in a container, you tight the container, and then boom. What goes out? A pressure, right? Well, if you want to kill somebody, put nails, right? You want to kill somebody, put ball bearings. And that's what the terrorists down south are doing. So you have steel that are very different in characteristics compared to lead, right? So steel going at a very high speed. Let's see how you stop it. This is my research. Take a look.
ที่มีวัตถุประสงค์เพื่อสร้างความหวาดกลัวให้กับประชาชน
what I want to do is that I want to figure out if I explode something, right? So what I want to do is I bring a bunch of bombs and I want to explode it. And I want to see what's the effect on these nails. How far does it go? What angle does it go? All right? So I want to see the pressure. I want to see how it reacts in under a high-speed camera. So I want to know all this knowledge so I can create something to protect it. All right? So what we do here is that we realize we had made a lot of container to stop these bombs from exploding. But what happened was, and guess what? As a bomb explodes, right, in that millisecond, the container flies up, and it flies up so fast that pieces of fragmentation is flown out and hit somebody. So what happened is, in that millisecond, the container flies up, and then fragmentation leaves. So, and then it kills people. So what we had done is that as you can see there, we have 3 layers. All right, we made 3 layers of protective armor, so that the first layer goes first, delaying it, the second layer goes second, and then the third layer goes. So that's what we did, and so you have a lot of these containers down south in the mall and sort of those kind of places, police stations and what. Thank you. So all of my friends, right, they ask me, hey, V, well, what do you do? And I said, I make in Thai they say hey วีมึงทำอะไรวะบอกเฮ้ยกูทำเสื้อเกราะเว้ยเฮ้ยมึงบอกอร่อยไหมบอก hey look I make armor เสื้อเกราะ I know is it delicious I was like เฮียกูไม่ทำเสื้อกูทำเสื้อเกราะไม่ทำไส้กรอกไอ้เฮีย so most of my friends right they had no idea what we do they're like what do you guys do and I want to tell you I did all this right just because I really like what I do it wasn't engineering it was school was something that I didn't really enjoy I really didn't enjoy school I sort of was in my own world and I liked doing what I did and I want to tell you a story how I became an engineer actually how I am today doing this I was not much younger than you I was in grade 10 I think it was and a friend of mine we studied at Saathit Kaset and a friend of mine said hey look let's make a bomb and I was like shit I don't know how to make a bomb but let's compete whoever makes the bomb first wins and so I said all right so I went home and those days right there was no knowledge there was practically no internet so what do we do well I go home and the first thing my dad graduated from Bang Mot he's actually Run Ning Bang Mot my dad so he goes hey dad I want to make a bomb and he was really helpful he's like oh okay so the first thing he goes to encyclopedia and opens it up right and he's like yeah this is how you make a bomb you want to know how to make a bomb 75% coal you know what coal coal is tan or it's like coal right just black powder just tan 15% saltpeters and 10% sulfur all right so that was in encyclopedia all right so I was like let's make a bomb so I start and I knew it was illegal right so what I did was that I went to a different pharmaceutical store and I bought sulfur gamatan right the saltpeters din pasiu and coal which is tan and then I mix them together and it never worked it just never worked so I light some fire and then it just psst, and that was it so all right so I went back to school and it's like hey guys I don't know how to do it so I sort of gave up for a while and then I was in a chemistry class the next semester and the teacher talked about by volume and by mass and then I said I missed something. All along, I was mixing all these chemicals by volume. When I should have done is mix it by mass. So I rushed home, right? Those days, I took Sai Hasong, which is a bus home. And I figured it out. And I weigh it by mass. I took my mother's weigh something in the kitchen, and I mix it together. And then I lit it, and it just went, and I thought, yes. So all I had to do is take that to school and show my friends. Well, that was a little difficult. So I had this idea, right? How am I going to take all this stuff to school? And so what I did is in those days, right, in the Coke bottle, the Coke cap, today is kind of white plastic kind of thing, right? In those days, it was aluminum, right? And so I packed all these gunpowder. I packed it in, and I put a Scotch tape, I tied it all around, and I woke up the next morning. I was really excited because I'm going to show my friends that I made a bomb. Well, I took it to school, And in the school you have sort of under your desk you have a little hole, you put your stuff in, your pencil and all that stuff. And after school, my friend said, hey V, let's go play soccer. And I forgot all about these bombs, right? And so I was like, all right, let's go play ball. I was skinny back then. So I grabbed everything in my drawer. That's all those bombs, those keychain, those pens, and those whatever, those chain, 1 baht, 5 baht, whatever. Put it here. And then I was in the building, right? So they haveม.4 ทับ 1 ม.4 ทับ 2 ม.4 ทับ 3 and so on. And after school, every day after school, the school turns on this school song, right? เราเป็นนักเรียนสาธิตเกษตรเราอยู่ในเขตบาง whatever. And then I was just walking along, and then my friend's like, hey V, hurry up! So I start to run. Boom! The bomb went off, right? The bomb was knocking on those keychain, and then it suddenly, boom! My leg, right here. You know how you have this cloth, right, in your pocket. It just totally melts into my skin, right? All those 5 baht coins, right, with the king's symbol on it, right? I can see it on my leg today, right? I can see Pachayuhua on my leg today, right? So it's a nasty thing. It just had a big, huge, and it just melts and it swells and it just blisters, and I didn't tell my dad about it, right? So I couldn't walk for months, and I tried to walk and it just blisters, and eventually I came clean. And then he went into my room and he realized I was a Unabomber. I was like, I had all these chemicals inside my rooms, and he just took away everything. So that was how I became an engineer, right? How I really like bombs, but I didn't, like bombs. Now I try to stop them. So it's sort of, that's how I became what I do today. All right. So the next thing I want to show you one of our product. What happened is the police and the military, they have this problem. Is another problem they have. It's called a shield, a TED shield. And they are carrying this shield, all right? So what happened is when you are far away from your threat, let's say those guys over there, he's using M16, right? And wait a second. And then you're here, so what you want to do is you want to optimize your protection. You don't want to wear from head to toe. That's too heavy. You can move, right? But sometimes when you're in a house, when you're closer to that threat, and that threat can pop up from any room. Now what happen is you need to protect as much area as possible. But the problem is you lose out on mobility. You lose out on your ability to run because everything's too heavy. So what are we trying to do is like, well, why don't you just not wear an armor? Just wear a shield, right? Just use a shield. And I was like, well, no, shields are heavy. All right, let's take a look at the shield. Why is shields heavy? And then we realize, it's the glass on the shield that makes it heavy. So what do? We realize if you were to create a shield, a flat shield, a square shield, without a glass, what happened? What happened? Well, you stick out your face and look at somebody, and there half of your face is exposed, right? If without a glass, half of your face is exposed. Well, what do? Well, why not make some curves on the shield? So we made some curves on the shield, just enough, so that you can peek through, lower the weight, increase mobility, and voila, you have what we call Lomi. It actually has a name. I'll tell you afterwards. What's a real name? Go ahead. Okay. Today, most police stations in Thailand, they use this shield, and we have a name for it. What does it look like? What does it look like? What does the shield look like? Can you see? Yeah, here it is. It's a 3-kilogram shield. It protects against all handguns, right? What does it look like? A teddy bear, right? So we have a name for it. We call it Lo Hin Mi. So this is the name that was given to the shield, right? All right. So let's get more scientific, all right? Let's go see what we do with ANSYS Autodyne. Let's all right, here it is. All right, this is how we simulate a bullet, penetrating through different layers of composites. All right, you see the blue, the far right, that's your bone density. That's your bones, actually. The purple, the light purple is your skin. The 3 layers of purple, green, purple, that's the different layers of composites. So these composites are generally ultra-high molecular polyethylene, we call it PE, which is a different type of PE. It's not just a regular plastic, but it has like a molar mass up to like 6 million or something like that. Really tight, high modulus. And then you have in the middle, that green, that's Kevlar. That's aramid. Simply just aramid. Para and meta aramid. So what happened is anybody can do an armor. You just use these 2 materials. But who can make an armor that has the lightest weight? Right? That's the key. So the first layer, you know what we do? We try to have the bullet goes through the first layer but loses its velocity as much as possible. So the first layer is called polyethylene, right? Ultra-high molecular polyethylene. It has a special property, it's called shearing strength. It has a really high shearing strength. You can't shear it, you can't cut it. You use a scissor to cut it, your scissor breaks. So we allow a bullet to pass through that layer and loses its property, loses its velocity. And it goes on the second layer, and then what the second layer does is that, Bo, can you show it us again? The second layer does is that it diffracts. See, stop there. Stop there. There you go. So what you can see is that if a bullet does not diffract, what happens is something like this. It goes through something like this, right? So you want all that force to be distributed out in huge area, in large areas, as large as possible. So whoever gets shot on armor, on my armor, would have a huge bruise. And that's good, because the bullet does not go in deep, because it distributes out the forces. And the last layer is kind of stiff, so it just stops the blunt trauma. So if you look at the curves, right? You see this energy area, and you want to distribute. It's the same energy area whether it's like this or like that. It's the same energy. It's just that how it's distributed out. So these are practically how you make a ballistic shield. You know, a lot of people try to come up with steel or, I don't know, some university, but practically, I mean, some university I've seen, they try to do, what do you call it? They call silk. They try to use silk. They try to use so many things. But in the world, there's only 2 materials that does it, and it's lightweight, and these are the 2 materials, all right? All right. Any questions so far? Anybody have any questions? I'm going to ask you if you don't have any questions. Any questions? The helmet that you're wearing right there. Let me see that helmet. All right. Somebody look at this helmet, all right? What's your name? A what? C.
Just call me Chen.
Chen. Okay, Chen. All right. See that helmet? Okay. Something really strange about this helmet. Most helmet, you see this angle of attack, this angle here. Turn to the side. There you go. You look like a military. This angle of attack is really high, right? So what we do is that we had to design a helmet that has really low angle of attack. That means when somebody shoot it, it just goes, right? So the angle does not come out. So we try to lower this angle as much as possible. But of course, this angle has to be high, but nobody will shoot you in the back, right? In most military. But you know what, something really special about this helmet? It's made from 2 molds. It's made from 2 different materials, 2 different molds. I'll show you. Take it out. Take this out. There you go. Take the cloth out. Yeah, just take it out. Well, you can see it from here. It has the front mold and the back mold. See that? It has this piece, and then it has this piece. And what you get is an area in the back. I'll show you. See this? It's made from 2 different molds. And what happened is, when soldiers, they jump off an airplane, it's called, there's an exercise called a base jump. A base jump is where they had to go do some mission somewhere, and they have to take an airplane, and they had to jump out of the airplane. So what happened is, they jump, the air comes in, right? The air comes in their helmet as they jump. And then their head goes like this. Why? Well, because it's one piece, right? It's taking all that air. So what we did is we designed 2 molds, and there's a hole. There's a hole here so that air can get out. So how does this work out? Well, at the time, I didn't realize it, but it's really good for bomb disposal. So those people who goes and try to fix bombs, and something goes wrong, and a bomb explodes, their neck suddenly snaps, just breaks automatically, because a lot of air into this area in a short time just snaps the neck. Well, now no more. The air sort of leaves this area, right? So the bullet can't get in, right? But the air can leave. So these are some of the innovation that we did, just simply looking at nature and how nature does things. So, you know, sometimes you want to look at innovation and you want to create something new, right? But no, not really. It's just nature has been doing that for millions and millions of years, right? What does that look like? A rhinoceros, right? It looks like a rhino. A rhino has a shield on his body, and that's what we try to mimic, is a rhino. Okay? Now, one more thing. I want to show you something we did before we move on to other topics. This is ballistic armor. This is a ballistic armor that we made. It's very light, and it protects against bullets. There it is. The bullet just falls out. So this is a bullet that's been flattened by the armor. All right. So, but what happened is, most people think that when you wear body armor, you're only protecting against bullets. And that's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. Because most people do not die because of bullets. You know what they die of? Knives. Most people die because of this threat right here, right? So let me show you what happened. This is an armor, a regular composite armor. Here goes another bullet. There you go. I'm going to stab it, right? suddenly you die. Right here. This is an armor that stops bullets. Right? What happened with a knife? You're dead. Suddenly. So, InvoStar develops an armor. Another type of an armor. I'll tell you how we do it first. You want to know how do we do it? Well, most people try to use steel. Most people how to use chain. Most people how to use metals to stop knives. No, we don't. We believe in lightweight composites. So what we do is we laminate a type of a copolymer film onto aramid. And this copolymer film, what happened is it prevents the sharp object from penetrating. So it would always, every layer after layer, it would try to resist. Because what happened is knives sort of tries to open up, right? Right. So what happened is, and you can see here, knives tries to open up try to shear off the material. So what we're trying to do is prevent that from happening. This is what happens. Nothing happens. Now what you do is you have created a material, we call it multi-threat protection. So what happened with the military and the police is that there are multi-threats. What are these threats? Somebody guess? Somebody want to guess? Bullets, of course. Knives, of course. What else? Blast, yes, blast. Trauma. You know what a trauma is? Trauma is like simply just you get hit by a club, right? You get hit. So you want to create a material that can stop so different types of threats. So you have even fire. I'll tell you what, back several years ago, I made a body armor, and this is what happened. I'll show you. See it again? Okay, there's three things happening here. One, say it again, and stop. You see the green and the red coming out. And this is what we call overpressure. It's a wave. It goes first, and it goes really fast, and it goes even before the black area, and that's fragmentation, reaches you. So these are sine waves. It just goes up. So these waves are strong enough. It's a negative and positive pressure. So that's why sometimes your eyes bulge out, right? Sometimes your intestine comes out because of the negative positive pressure. Nothing stops that, right? Not even a bomb suit stops it. You die in a bomb suit if you're that close, right? So one thing that happens is that one great thing that happens is that this overpressure just goes away within a couple meters. It's not that big of a deal if you're 3 or 4 meters away. Right? And then the next thing, what happened? The black is a fragmentation. Fragmentation is simply just whatever you put on, steel, ball bearings, or whatever. And then it flies. Is that it? No. What happened? What's a red? What's a red? Somebody guess? Fire. Fire. So what we did, we didn't know this, right? So we made a body armor that stops everything. So it stops multi-threat, stops knives, stops whatever. And then we realized that one of these guys gets blown, boom. He gets knocked off. He goes unconscious. He was not hurt. He was just knocked off and unconscious. The fire caught his pants, and by the time he woke up, his face, his body was all disfigured because of fire. So the body armor needs a vest, right? So a vest is right up there. That needs to be fire retardant. So you see that material there. So you have to make that material fire retardant. And then what we realize is, again, through our research, is that you made the best armor, the lightest armor, the armor that protects against fire, but you know what happened? Again, we had to learn. We learned that most lives are lost because these guys are operating, our soldiers and down south, they're operating sometimes at night, and sometimes at night, your armor reflects. Your armor is so shiny. The material, the fabric you use, it's black. Yes, you say black is good, it absorbs light. No, black can have some type of shininess to them. So we have another spec now, it's called IR retard, NIR, it's called near IR infrared. So what happened is that if you even use a night vision, you know how military use night vision, you cannot see that armor at 30 meters. It's just gone. So that's another technology that goes into armor. And there's so many things that goes on to it, all right? So anybody so far? Any questions on armoring? Anybody? Is there a break? Or is there a break at all, or should I carry through? Okay. All right, so I want to go through one small thing. So I want to stop talking about these science things for a second. And, I want to sort of get in an idea of how you learn these things, right? So I like learning. I like discovering all these ideas. And you're in school today, and you're like, all right, I got to take all these tests. I got to learn the material. Do you actually use them? Who thinks you have to use all these materials you're studying today? Who thinks? Raise your hand. Kai kid? No? Most of this stuff that you're learning today, you have to be able, listen carefully, you have to be able to look it up. When your teacher, when your boss asks you something, you don't have to know them by heart, right? So what do? Sir, I need to go to a toilet second. Open Google and find out, right? So you don't need to know them by heart. You do need to be able to apply them. Well, how do you actually apply these knowledge? Well, that leads me to my point today, is that as a person who wants to learn, right? You're pretty much, how do you say it in Thai? In English, you say up to no good. คือขี้เกียจ right? Everybody, you're ขี้เกียจ, I'm ขี้เกียจ, right? We don't want to learn. We don't want to, what happened is you sometimes you have this big idea, right? You want to be somebody. You want to do this. You want to do that. And the world doesn't allow you to do it sometimes. And you're sort of stuck and you're like, I can't make a big change. I can't make a big difference in life. Well, and that happens to a lot of my students, so that happens to a lot of my engineers, is that you dream big, right? And most of you in school, you have this dream. You're like, I want to make money, right? Let me ask you a question. Maybe I'm going to pick somebody. Let me pick that, what's it called? She? What's your name again? Yeah, whatever that name is. Jackie Chan, that's fine.
Yeah, my name is Chen.
All right. Why do you want to be an engineer?
Because my parents work in...
Aha, the classic, right? The parrot, right? Your parents wants you to become an engineer.
Yeah, my parents.
All right, good. Nothing wrong with that,
Yeah.
Anybody else? Let me pick you. Usually a woman don't want to be an engineer. Let me pick you. Oh, you're right here, right, a woman. Unless you're a woman. I guess not. All right, why do you want to be an engineer?
I feel like engineer can create and solve a lot of problems, and I see a lot of things can be created, and that's becoming a passion for me to like how they created and they solve a problem, and that's why I want to be engineer.
That's you actually said something that was really important. That not a whole lot of young people today touch on this issue, and that's the issue of passion. What is passion? It's like, what is passion? Can you answer? To you, what is passion? Mike?
I think like the passion is how people want to do something like, it's kind of like inspiration, like something like that.
It's what? Like
Inspiration.
okay, inspiration, and you want to carry it through.
Yeah.
All right? And that's very important. You know, when I was in engineering school, my grade was like something like 2 something. I can't remember. 2.4, 2.5, I don't know what. It really doesn't matter. Grades just, you know, really doesn't matter. What matters is IQ has nothing to do with the success. You know, you want to learn, fine. You learn. So here's my advice to you, young people. Ready? Don't aim high. Don't. This is a mistake. Don't aim high. Just repeat this after me. Don't aim high. Don't aim high. Why shouldn't you aim high? Well, you don't want to aim high because you can't even make your damn bed in the morning. You don't want to aim high. You want to aim low and achieve those things. Get it? You want to aim low enough so that you complete that task. There is a principle, I can't remember, what is it? Pareto. You know this principle? It's called a Pareto Principle. Somebody study this? A Pareto's principle says, if you do something, if you're right here, and you try to aim low enough to complete something, and you complete something twice, you tend to excel exponentially. What happens there is that you're here, and you try to complete, let's say, do your bed, and you try to do something else on time, and then you try to go to class on time. Most likely, the Pareto Principle says you tend to exponentially move up, right? You don't want to aim high. And that's a problem with young people today. You aim too high and fail, and then you give up. You want something fast, you want something high. No, aim low. You want to aim low enough. You don't want to get an A, you want to get a C+. You want to get a D, whatever, that passes, and then move on. Next semester, I want to do a little bit better. All right? So, again, the Pareto Principle goes like this as well. If if you fail twice, you are most likely to exponentially fail. So set up a goal for yourself, but don't aim high. And that's my advice for learning. If you want to learn, if you want to feel success, if you want to feel accomplished of something, slowly you aim. Yeah, and you know where you can start? You know where you can start? Make your damn bed in the morning. All right? So, is that it? You know, anything else? I can go on forever, but okay, 15 more minutes. All right. I want you. I want to. Somebody knows this concept called the Marshmallow Test. Somebody? Anybody? Okay. Let me introduce to you a Marshmallow Test. Oh, wait. This is something cool. Wait, before you start. This is me, all right? And the military goes, hey, V1, กูจะไม่ซื้อของมึง We're not going to buy your stuff. Because you know why? Well, you've never been behind armor before. You just make armor. So I was like, shit. What do I do? Well, okay, fine. I'll be behind my armor. And this is what I had to show them. Go ahead. All clear. This is Bo. She's sitting right there. Right? She shot me with a .357 Magnum. Right? So, okay, I want to show you what a marshmallow test is. Here it is. I want you to listen, please.
Well, when you look at children and you look at all the different theories about what makes successful kids, you realize that almost all the theories are wrong because they haven't been verified. Like, for example, high IQ. You have a lot of high IQ people who become marginal members of society. And so what is the one psychological test that correlates with success in life? And I found out that it's the marshmallow test. You get kids and ask them, you want a marshmallow now or 2 marshmallows a few hours from now? And the kids that want the marshmallow now tend to be those that want shortcuts. Those that don't want to do the hard work. They want the quick kill. They grab that marshmallow. But the other ones say, no, wait a minute. If I need 2 hours, I can get 2 marshmallows. I can hold out. There's a pot of gold waiting for me. They're not going to take the shortcut. And so you say to yourself, well, that's a test for kids. But then you track them decade by decade by decade. And you find that they are more successful, they have a lower divorce rate, higher income, higher status in society, that don't want that simple payoff now, but are going to delay gratification into the future. And so I realized that that's the key to success in life, not just science, but in life. Don't take the shortcuts.
But can it be taught?
Well, part of it is your personality that is formed when you're very young. Okay, let's be very clear about that. But I think that, yes, I think that, for example, it turns out that if you do the same thing with poor children and the same thing with middle-class children, it turns out that poor children will, in general, go for the quick kill because they know that things disappear real fast. If there's money in the house, it's gone in the future. If you can show people that there is a pot of gold out there, that yes, you hold out, you go to college, you learn the discipline, there's a pot of gold out there. You can learn to appreciate that fact. What we have in the brain that is different from animals is we understand time. We understand the future. My grandparents came to California 100 years ago. But imagine, back then, life expectancy was 49 years of age. I mean, you were born, you had kids, and died. Life was a bitch. Now, we have an increased lifespan, we have all the luxury goods. Instead of yelling out the window, which is what my grandparents did to communicate, we have the internet. And so when you look at it the long term, decade for decade, you realize the enormous progress that we've made. We constantly daydream, we scheme, we plot. We constantly think about what could be. Now let's do an experiment. Go home tonight and teach your dog the concept of tomorrow. Try it. Teach your dog the concept of tomorrow, the next week, the next year, and you realize you can't. Animals live in the present. And that's what I think intelligence is. Intelligence is being able to map the future, simulate the future. So if you get an experiment, people with low IQ and high IQ, put them in the same room, and you give them the same job, rob a bank. You find out that the low IQ people probably do a much better job of robbing the bank, plotting the bank robbery, than high IQ people who get all messed up with legal implications and stuff like that. The point is that you can have some very smart robbers because they see the future. And that's what we humans do that animals cannot. We constantly daydream. We constantly create worlds that don't exist. And to me, that's what intelligence is. Some people ask me, well, what is the meaning of life then? And I say to myself that if somebody gives you from up high the meaning of life, it's too easy. I mean, is that all? My attitude is that it's self-discovery. We have to reinvent ourselves, but we have to recreate ourselves. But the meaning of life is rediscovery.
Thank you. So it's called a Marshmallow Test, and what they discovered is that if you have more perseverance in life, if you waited and just fail and do it again and fail fast and do it again and fail fast, and you have enough perseverance, you'll be successful. Remember, it has nothing to do with IQ, right? It's just perseverance. And the last thing I want to leave with you before I go is that this is pretty much the three things I learned in my life, right? Marshmallow Test, perseverance, right? And then the last thing I want to leave with you is so many times we, especially Thai people, we're stuck with this concept called happiness. Happiness. ทำไมไม่ทำไม่แฮปปี้ No. I want to tell you that the baseline of human life, you know what the baseline of human life is pretty much suffering, pain and suffering, right? It comes and it goes. You can't stop it. It's, somebody gets sick in your family, you get bad grades. The baseline is accepted. It's suffering. Now, don't get caught up in happiness. You know, you don't want to do something that makes you happy. You want to do something that in the future it pays off. So take the hard road. If you want to learn, well, perseverance. You remember I said we're all kikiat, and we're all just simply no good, up to no good. You know, you want to do great things, you want to do this and that, and you don't get to do it. You just, oh, I don't have enough time. You have excuse to it for yourself, and the baseline for human life is already bad. And if you don't know bad, you know, experience life as it goes, and you'll find out. The baseline is not a happy feeling. A baseline in human life is pretty much suffering. So you better stop making things worse. Stop making things worse. What are these things that makes things worse? Well, you can start off by not lying. You can stop by not being jealous and greed and these kind of things goes a long way, right? So I want you to accept that you know, number one is the baseline of human life is already bad and suffering. So don't make things worse. So these kind of three concepts that I use in my work, in my life, in my innovation, in what I do, and at the end, it's not about money. Yeah, the company has to make money. You know, I'm still that little kid in grade 10 running around and make bombs. But I have to run a company that's like, you know, 400 million baht. So I can't, yeah, I have to be a grown-up kid, but still, I still love doing what I do. And don't grow up in a sense. Thank you very much.